Gentlemen, I want to start my presentation in a different way. I want to sing for you a little song so that you can energize a little bit. I am a mama, I am a mama, I am a mama, no cure without you. Can you tell your friend that no cure without you? You tell your friend, I am a mama, I am a mama, I am a mama, no cure without you. Okay. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm called Moses Supercharger. I'm a person who has been living with HIV since 1994. And I tell you, I've taken medications for the last 2 decades, and it's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. But one thing I have as Supercharger, I know the cure is coming. It's coming. It's not coming next year, but it's coming this year. Yes. And I was very disappointed this morning when I had a colleague who was saying he's really disappointed. It looks like he's not going to have a cure in his lifetime. I tell you, my bro, 2 years before Timothy Brown was announced cured, nobody believed that there would ever be a person cured of HIV. But here we have Timothy Brown. And we have got to continue believing in our researchers, in our advocacy. The cure will come, I'm telling you. The topic I'm going to talk about is called African Myth and Misconception about the Cure. I had an organization called Stigmaless Uganda. It's an organization of young people born and living with HIV in Uganda. I'm also a member of the IAS Cure Advisory Board. I also chair the Joint Clinical Research Center Community Advisory Board. I'm a member of Insight Cab, which actually brought me here. I didn't get scholarship for CROI, but Insight had some pre-meetings, which happened yesterday by 1, and I requested them to extend my ticket so that I can attend this meeting. Thank you so much, Insight. And I happen also to be a member of the SCTG. I was a CSS member rep for the Arts Committee. The background, I come from Uganda, from Africa, the most beautiful continent in the world, which has a population of 1.3 billion people, contributing 20% of the global population. But I tell you, it's very unfortunate and sad that out of the 36 million people living with HIV, 27 million are in my beautiful continent, Africa. Can you imagine? We are 7 continents all over the world. If you divide 36 between the 7 continents, you'll get at least 5 or 4 million from each continent. But 27 million people are just in one continent. And that is a big concern. Why do we want a cure in Africa? The burden of taking medications every day. I tell you, I've taken medication. I tested in 94. But I did not access treatment until 1998. I started treatment in 1998. I've taken medications, and these medications that I take are not good at all. I was hearing Superdolge saying he's taking nice tabs, taking 1 pill a day, microdolge. You are taking a nice tab, take 1 in a day in the USA, but this is not happening in my continent. Right now, I'm taking 7 huge tablets every day. Can you imagine? And they really have bad side effects. Every time I take them in my stomach, I need to go to the restroom. And I can't take them without food. You know, people who have ever tested lopinavir and ritonavir in combination with Combiva, what it means. I'm taking Alluvia, Combiva, and Septrin. Those are 7 damn big tablets every day. And I hate them, but I love them because they have really made me what I am now. I'm strong and be able to do what I do because of those tablets. We want the cure because of the mortality, the death. So many people are dying because of HIV. Can you imagine in Africa every year we lose 340 folks every year in my continent. We don't want them to die. We want the cure because of the cost. We can't manage buying ARVs for ourselves. 90% of all the funds that we use to buy the medications and to manage HIV and AIDS in my country are paid by United States of America. Can you put your hands together for USA, ladies and gentlemen? But America also has domestic problems which needs funds to make them move. But they are paying these medications every day. The fear is one day somebody will wake up and say, enough is enough. It's time you manage your business. But I tell you, my country can only handle 10%. The 90% is being managed by United States of America through PEPFAR. We want the cure of HIV. Stigma. Can you imagine in my country you cannot get married to a person before they test you? You cannot be wedded in church before the pastor gets to know about your status? There's a lot of stigma in my country. So much business and so much money is being collected from countries like Oman, China, Arab countries, and so many people are going there for greener pastures. But these countries test. For you to get a visa to go to China, for you to get a visa to go to United Arab Emirates, you must be tested. And so many folks are very disappointed in Africa. They can't go for these jobs because of HIV, the toxicity, you know. The option, ladies and gentlemen, as I speak right now in my country, we have a problem of HIV drug resistance. And we have folks who are on third line. 1,300 in Uganda are on third line, and they have no option. If that medication fails, it's the end of them. So they are praying every day for the cure to come. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go to the next slide quickly. I don't want to take so much long. The misconception and myth which I'm going to talk about are basically based on personal and unguided reasonings. And before I came here, ladies and gentlemen, I organized several community meetings to interact with different community groups to ask them about the misconception they have about HIV cure. And this is the report, ladies and gentlemen. Majority of the folks in Africa think that suppression is cure. Majority of people in Africa on earth think actually that when you get suppressed, you can stop medication. And in the group which I interviewed about this issue, a young man stood up and said, they tell us that actually ARVs kill the virus. And actually when they did my first viral load, I had 2 million virus in my body. When I did the second viral load, they told me it was below 100. When I did the second viral load, they told me it was around 1,000. And I started asking myself, where did the rest go? It was killed by HIV. So he started thinking that the more you take, the more it will be killed, and you reach a time when there is no more HIV in your body. And when this guy was told that he was undetectable, guess what? He stopped medication. He thought he was cured. So we need more education in Africa to tell people that undetectable is not cure. We need a lot of education about this complicated issue of reservoirs, which is even disturbing our researchers. The biggest culprits of this problem are the young people. New prevention and treatment tools are taking so much space for the HIV cure research. Now, in Africa, we think that actually the people who are supposed to find us the cure, they look at the treatment which we have today and say, if they can live, if they have a healthy life, why waste the energy and funds into finding the cure? Let them take the medications. Let them fall one by one. That is the thinking in my continent, Africa. Americans and Europeans have the cure, and they are hiding it away from Africans. This is one of the misconceptions and myths that is in Africa. And they have reasons to back this claim. They say Timothy Brown was cured 12 years ago. He's an American. He was cured in Europe. Why not in Zimbabwe? The drugs that they used to cure Timothy Ray Brown, TRB, are being hidden. They're hiding them away from us. Because they have been hearing about Timothy Brown for the last 11 years. And I tried at one point to get some person at least to fund Timothy Brown to come to our continent at least, to do some interaction with our community, but I lacked funds to do that. But we need that in future. Then I interacted with these young people and I told them, if you say that Americans and Europeans actually have the cure and they're hiding it, do you know that in America there are 1 million people with HIV? I told them I travel to America like 3 times every year and have friends like Jim Pickett. They're living with HIV and they're Americans. So your argument is wrong. And one replied that I read that actually majority of the people with HIV in America are blacks. And I think these are blacks from Africa going to America already infected. And I was like, oh my God. So there is a lot of confusion around that. We need to explain to these communities about Timothy Brown. Witchcraft is a big problem in Africa. The witch doctors are cheating patients, telling them that they actually have the cure of HIV. Ladies and gentlemen, witchcraft doctors have even reached the extent of sacrificing people to get blood. They sacrifice negative people to get their blood so that they can clean you and get cured of HIV. On top, you can see that's the shrine. It's like the clinic. That is the clinic for the witchcraft doctors in my country. The photo you see down there is a witchcraft doctor in my country, Uganda, recently arrested after he had killed 5 people. And those are dead bodies you see. And the gentleman you see is one of the policemen standing this side. This guy was arrested with 5 dead bodies in his shrine. He killed them, sucked his blood to clean HIV positive people and to give them wealth. Albinos and young children have fallen into this. They are being killed in Africa, thinking that actually their blood can cure HIV. It's terrible. There are no regulations for witchcraft doctors in Africa. Some of them actually even advertise on radios and televisions. Pastors and prophets cure HIV. That's what they claim. They tell people to just pray. Don't take your medications. Just pray. God will heal your HIV. As a result, folks are abandoning ARVs every day. This partly explains why we have the highest rates of HIV drug resistance in the whole world. My country alone has 15%. Can you imagine? 15%. What really annoys me is that actually the relatives of these pastors who tell people to stop medications, when their children fall sick, they don't tell them to pray. They take them to hospitals for treatment. It's terrible. Majority of these pastors are being funded by pastors from America. They get millions and millions of dollars to construct churches. You see, that church is in my country. That church you see is in my country. And it has about 2,000 followers. And we have so many Pentecostal churches. I believe in God and I know that God is there. But I don't tell people to leave medications. Take your medications as you pray to God to bring the cure. They are sensitive myth. Some actually think that there is an intelligence international intelligence body that formed the virus. And for you to get the cure, you need to sit down with that intelligence. If they formed this virus, they actually have the cure. That is their argument. Funders, advocates, and pharmaceutical companies, the energy that you put in pre-exposure prophylaxis and combination antiretroviral therapy and vaccine research is missing in cure research. And in Africa, we are asking why. There is a lot of energy when you talk about PrEP everywhere, PrEP. There's a lot of funding in PrEP. There's a lot of meetings in PrEP. But when you talk about cure, people start to. Advocates, we are not doing enough. We need to act up so that we can defeat HIV. Pharmaceutical world is very slow when it comes to cure. That is another thinking in Africa. That the pharmaceutical world is not so active when it comes to cure. That's what they think in Africa. But when it comes to treatment, when it comes to pre-exposure prophylaxis, every scientific conference, they will have a new drug. Every scientific conference, they'll tell you, we have discovered this one. We have discovered this one. But when it comes to cure, when it comes to funding, 80% of the funds that does the cure research come from United States of America. Where are other continents? Why don't they want the cure? Africa, leaders, you have so much money, which you swindle every day. Can you use some of that money to invest in cure research? Ladies and gentlemen, that picture you see, this guy is running for the cure, but the funding is going in the opposite direction. He's running for the cure and he needs funding, but funding is going in the opposite direction. The media is confusing people in my country. As I speak right now, people are buying garlic every day, mixing it with ARVs, thinking that actually garlic can cure you. And the media has confused the people. When the PrEP came, there was a big story in this very paper that a vaccine has been discovered. Until we had to intervene and explain that actually pre-exposure prophylaxis is not vaccine. Cure breakthrough. Even when there is a cure breakthrough, people think that it will still be for the rich people. And it will take long to come to Africa like art. Remember when you started taking art, it took us almost 7 years to get art. They think it will be very expensive. There are some programs which are confusing folks in Africa, ending HIV by 2030. I was in Manafa recently, interviewing people, and actually, some of them told me that actually, HIV is going to end by 2030 because they have heard that UNAIDS is bringing the cure in 2030. That's why the slogan, ending HIV by 2030. And I was telling them, why do you think like that? Yeah, UNAIDS is advertising that HIV/AIDS is going to end by 2030. So we need to do more explanation that actually this program is not about cure. This program is agitating to put 90% of all folks on treatment. And 90% of all those who have been put on treatment must be suppressed with the intention of not passing the virus. Because when you are suppressed, you don't pass. Herbalists. We have a lot of herbalists in my country. They even advertise on radio stations. These herbalists have even gone a step further, stealing ARVs, grinding them, adding them with their local staffs, and giving them to clients. They will test you. They even have testing equipment. They will test you and know that you actually have tuberculosis. They will get TB medications crushed and added with herbal medicine and give to you. And it's very dangerous, my friend. In conclusion, Fake news, lies, and misinformation about the HIV cure gives false hopes to folks with HIV and threaten to reverse the good news, the good work being done by UNAIDS and its global partners to end HIV by 2030. A lot needs to be done to create and empower community advocates with facts about the cure of HIV and the ongoing global cure research so that they can be able to pass on this vital information to the grassroots. Some of the impossibilities in 1990 are now possibilities due to the enthusiasm and commitment. A cure of HIV is very possible if we all stakeholders can agree to double the enthusiasm, energy, and funding. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to end with this slide. This slide is an adherence rehabilitation center which I'm constructing in my continent. Because of the problem of resistance, because of the problem of empowering people about all these issues, about the cures, about the bad myth and misconception they have, I started constructing an adherence rehabilitation center where young people can come and get empowered. This center has taken long because I don't have any funder. I use personal savings and savings from folks, friends. So the appeal which I want to make, though I didn't ask Richard to give me permission, is if you have a folk out there who can assist us roof the first floor, you're welcome. Roofing just the first floor needs $5,000. And if you are there and willing to support us with a $10 or $20, you can send to me. Remember, a bag of cement in my country costs just $10. $10. Ladies and gentlemen, this center will be used to empower young people, to help them take their medications, to help them fight the myth and misconception about the cure of HIV. Ladies and gentlemen, advocates, let's empower young people. When you look in this room, majority of the active advocates now are above the age of 45. And my concern is that in the next 20 or 15 years, if we don't involve young people right now to become advocates, we don't have successors to take on our work. Because you don't expect Jim to be as active as he is now in the next 20 years. So we need to start thinking of ways of involving young people in these meetings that we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Got Curran in the front, you in the front. We got a couple in the front. I'll give you that. And all right, go.
You talked about fake news. To what extent are fake medicines also an issue in Africa? That was one question. And then have you also looked at perceptions of long-acting art and how that would change the landscape in Africa?
Come again? The fake news?
Fake medicines and then long-acting treatment.
The fake news,
Fake medicine.
the fake traditional medications. Yeah, it's really so much in my country. As I said, there are so many herbalists and traditional doctors who use fake medications to treat people. It's too much in my country. I hope I have answered your question. And the long-acting therapy, this is a new thing in my country. And actually, people heard about it, and there is a lot of question about it. But there is research going on in my country, and Uganda is taking part in long-acting therapy research. But we have not started taking it in my country.
Hi, Moses. Thank you for such a fiery talk. I loved it. And I just wanted to sort of reiterate something that you shared, which I only learned through our Facebook page for Defeat HIV, which is under attack every day by 3 to 5 spellcasters. I don't know how they've gotten so savvy to use Facebook against itself, but they create fake profiles or they steal people's profiles and they hit up our page trying to hit the comment sections of every post we make. And I just wanted to let people know that if you run an HIV thing on Facebook, you're open to it. And if you want to find out the way to block them, I have figured it out. And it's not by talking to Facebook. Basically, Facebook gives you a way to ban words that can be used in the comment section. So I ban words like herbal, temple, WhatsApp, because they're always asking you to contact them through WhatsApp. And the only other thing I wanted to add about that is that when someone replies to those things, they're not only getting ripped off for an HIV cure, they're opening themselves up to blackmail. Because if you believe in spells, you also will believe that, oh, if you're not going to pay me a certain amount of extra dollars, I'm going to put a spell on your husband or on your son, so something else is going to happen. So once that happens, because I've gotten that feedback through Facebook as well. So it's a really difficult paradigm to work in, but there is a way to get around it. So again, you can ban the words that they like to use most of all. Somehow they know how to make these bots, though, and that's the weirdest thing if you think about these traditional medicine healers being able to use bots to kind of spam my Facebook page. I just wanted to add that to you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I have a question about collaboration. I care really deeply about the cases that are happening in Africa, particularly in Uganda. But one of the barriers to me being more invested in caring is the very direct messaging against LGBTQ folk. So my question is, how do I, as an LGBTQ person, assist across that barrier and that boundary, considering that there's a death penalty for LGBTQ people in Uganda?
Come again?
LGBTQ people in Uganda. How does he work in that space, given that there are death penalties for LGBTQ people in Uganda?
Yeah, it's good you have asked that question. Uganda is one of those countries that's criminalized LGBT people, and they're really facing it rough to access treatment. They're really facing it hard to enjoy their country, of course, because they are also human beings. And accessibility is a really big problem to them. As you know, majority of the health centers are being managed by the Catholic Church and the government of Uganda. So you, as the government, you're criminalizing them, and yet the Catholics are also not welcoming them. Where do you want to go? Where do you want them to go? So it's a big problem, but they are all people, they need all the interventions that we also get. It's a big challenge in my country.
Moses.
Yes, Mike.
I've known you for a really long time, and I'm amazed at the amazing work that I've seen you do over the years in your community. You're incredible. Your YouTube videos, your twerking, your everything. You have done such amazing things trying to educate your community, and that's what this is really all about, is just getting rid of these myths and getting rid of all this bad information and these bad beliefs.
Thank you.
So your country in Africa needs 500 superchargers, 1,000 superchargers, 5,000 superchargers, 10,000 superchargers, and you're not there. So I'm wondering if there's some way that you could get funding or support to take more advantage of media and YouTube and all that, and your fabulous videos that I've seen you do on the STAR trial and all of that, to really try and just really focus in on these horrible things that you're telling us about. I hope that can happen. Keep doing the work you're doing. You're fabulous. But I'd like to see 10,000 superchargers in Africa doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's my dream. Michael, that's my dream. As I told you, in the next 15 years, I will not be with the energy that I have now. I want young superchargers. And I'm glad to report to you that in 2017, I won the AVAC Fellowship for 2017. And my project, though it was for 1 year, but my project, I told them I want community to get involved into the ongoing cure research. I want to create a network of advocates in my country to empower them about the cure research. So they funded me for some meetings for 1 year, but the challenge was that I had to interact with only folks around the central, and then the fellowship ended. It's 1 year, but I'm praying that maybe in future, somebody else will come and fund these meetings so that we can get more superchargers, as you said. And I'm also glad that I've lobbied IAS. IAS, because of my lobbying, IAS has agreed to organize an HIV cure advocacy meeting for the community of Africa every year. And the first meeting happened in my country last year, And this year's meeting is happening in Botswana. But the membership, they are doing a very good job, but they get 30 advocates per academy. We need like 150 every academy, but they don't have fund. But it's better than nothing. Yep, sure.
One more.
Hi.
One more.
Is this on? Yeah. I'm Carol.
Carol.
For 19 years, I was part of a group of people who took unused, unneeded HIV medications and antiretrovirals, antibiotics, and got them to providers in Uganda and other countries, Ethiopia, Sudan, Somalia.
Thank you.
We need superchargers in this country because it's a shame in this country that now we have bins in our pharmacies where people in their short-sighted, conservative ways take their unused medications and put them in a bin to throw out, when there are millions of people across the world and in Africa who could use them. One clinic in Kenya said over the 11 years he got medication, we donated $5 million worth of antiretrovirals that would have been thrown out. So we need superchargers like you in this country to recognize the rest of the world needs what we are throwing away.
Sure. I agree with you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.